On December 19, 2023, a Manhattan jury reached a verdict in the case of the people of the state of New York v. Donald J. Trump, guilty. The words echoed through the courtroom, sending shockwaves across the nation. After days of deliberation, the jury found the 45th President of the United States guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records, a felony offense in the state of New York. This marked a historic moment, the first time in American history that a former president faced criminal convictions. The charges stemmed from a years-long investigation by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office into Trump's business practices. Prosecutors alleged that Trump, along with several associates, orchestrated a scheme to misrepresent the value of his assets to secure favorable loans and tax breaks. The trial, which began in November 2023, captivated the nation and reignited debates about accountability, justice, and the rule of law. Throughout the trial, prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence, including financial statements, emails, and testimony from former Trump Organization executives. They argued that Trump knowingly and intentionally inflated the value of his properties, creating a false picture of his wealth and financial stability. The defense team, however, maintained Trump's innocence, arguing that he relied on the advice of his lawyers and accountants and had no intent to defraud anyone. The jury's decision to convict came after careful consideration of the evidence and arguments presented. The verdict, delivered with a somber tone, represented a significant blow to Trump, who had repeatedly denied any wrongdoing and accused the prosecution of being politically motivated. The judge set a sentencing date for January 2024, leaving Trump and the nation to grapple with the weight of the verdict and its potential consequences. At the heart of the case against Trump were 34 counts of falsifying business records. These charges stemmed from the alleged scheme to inflate the value of Trump's assets, including golf courses, hotels, and even his personal brand. Prosecutors argued that Trump, driven by a desire to project an image of success and wealth, directed his employees to manipulate financial records to paint a rosier picture than reality. Each count of falsifying business records represented a separate instance where Trump or his associates allegedly misrepresented financial information. These instances included inflating the value of golf courses, exaggerating the square footage of his apartments, and even mischaracterizing the terms of loans. Prosecutors meticulously presented evidence for each count, building a case that demonstrated a pattern of deception and a disregard for financial regulations. One particularly damning piece of evidence was a recording of a phone call between Trump and his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. In the recording, Trump can be heard discussing a scheme to pay off an adult film star who alleged an affair with him. Trump's attempts to silence the star, prosecutors argued, were part of a larger pattern of deceit and an effort to influence the outcome of the 2016 election. The defense team countered that the prosecution's case was built on the testimony of unreliable witnesses, including Michael Cohen, who had already pleaded guilty to lying to Congress. They argued that Trump, a businessman with a long history of deal-making, often exaggerated his wealth as a negotiating tactic but never intended to defraud anyone. However, the jury ultimately found the prosecution's case more persuasive, leading to the guilty verdict on all 34 counts. The news of Trump's conviction sent shockwaves through the United States, dividing the nation along political lines. Supporters of the former president expressed outrage, denouncing the verdict as a politically motivated witch hunt. They accused the Manhattan District Attorney's Office of pursuing a vendetta against Trump, fueled by partisan bias and a desire to tarnish his legacy. Protests erupted in several cities, with Trump supporters waving flags and chanting slogans denouncing the verdict. Social media platforms were flooded with angry messages, some even calling for violence against those involved in the prosecution. Republican lawmakers, many of whom had remained loyal to Trump throughout his presidency and subsequent legal troubles, echoed these sentiments, accusing the justice system of being weaponized against political opponents. On the other side of the political spectrum, the verdict was met with a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. Democrats and anti-Trump Republicans hailed the verdict as a victory for the rule of law, affirming that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. They emphasized the importance of holding powerful individuals accountable for their actions, and hoped that the verdict would serve as a deterrent against future abuses of power. No one is above the law, not even a former president, said President Joe Biden in a televised address to the nation following the verdict. Today's verdict sends a clear message that in America, justice will be served regardless of power or position. These sentiments were echoed by numerous Democratic lawmakers and legal experts who saw the verdict as a sign that the American justice system, though imperfect, could still deliver accountability. The conviction of Donald Trump on felony charges carries profound implications for American democracy. It is a stark reminder that the rule of law applies to everyone, regardless of their wealth, status, or former position of power. The verdict has the potential to reshape the political landscape, influencing future elections and the balance of power in Washington. Trump's conviction could embolden prosecutors to pursue other investigations into his business dealings and his conduct as president. The ongoing investigations into his role in the January 6th Capitol riot and his attempts to overturn the 2020 election could gain momentum, potentially leading to further legal jeopardy for the former president. Moreover, the conviction is likely to further deepen the political divisions within the country. Trump remains a popular figure among a significant portion of the population, and his supporters are likely to view his conviction as further evidence of a deep state conspiracy against him. This could lead to increased polarization and distrust in government institutions. However, the conviction also presents an opportunity for a national reckoning with the erosion of democratic norms and the spread of misinformation. The trial and subsequent verdict have forced a public conversation about accountability, transparency, and the importance of upholding the rule of law. This conversation, though difficult, is essential for the health of American democracy. The guilty verdict against Donald Trump marks a turning point in American history. It is a moment of profound consequence, one that will resonate for years to come. The conviction of a former president on felony charges is unprecedented, shattering the notion of presidential immunity and reaffirming the principle that no one is above the law. The verdict has exposed the fragility of American democracy, revealing the vulnerabilities of a system that relies on the peaceful transfer of power and the respect for the rule of law. It has also highlighted the deep divisions within American society, divisions that have been exacerbated by partisan politics, economic inequality, and the spread of misinformation. The path forward remains uncertain. Trump's legal battles are far from over, and the political fallout from his conviction will continue to reverberate. The nation is left to grapple with the implications of this historic moment, navigating a complex and uncertain future. The verdict is a reminder that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing process, one that requires vigilance, courage, and a commitment to the principles of democracy. It is a call to action for all Americans to defend the integrity of their institutions, to hold their leaders accountable, and to work towards a more just and equitable society.